first. I will close this one. Okay. Guys, we are already done with our discussion sa microscopic urine examination. So, I've provided you a recorded lecture discussion on that. And I hope na naaral nyo na siya because kakailanganin nyo yan next week. So, next week we'll have our microscopic urine examination na laboratory activity. Now, we will discuss 4 other body fluids. Okay, para konti na lang yung matitira before our final quiz and exam. Okay? And start na siguro tayo. Disclaimer guys ha, it's up to you kung magre-record ka para sa sarili mo, magre-record ka para sa kaklase mo, bahala ka. Pero hindi ako magpo-provide ng recording, so kung wala ka dito, gawan mo ng paraan. Okay? Again, ikaw ang bahala kung i-record mo to para sa'yo or para sa kaklase mo. I will not provide any recording because nag-online synchronous class tayo ngayong week. So the following week na magiging classes natin is of course face-to-face na siya unless otherwise may mga announcement na walang pasok. Ganun lang naman yon. Okay, so bahala ka. Ikaw mag-record ng gusto mong i-record. So, let's continue our discussion. So, we'll go now first sa semen analysis muna tayo. Okay? Tapos na tayo sa microscopic urine examination. Let's proceed now with your semen analysis or seminal fluid analysis or seminalysis na tinatawag natin. Now, the focus of our discussion here is your semen. So obviously, yung makakapag-produce lang neto is lalaki. Obvious ba? So your semen is composed of 4 fractions. Okay? 4 fractions that are contributed by different parts of the reproductive system or organ ng ating male. So the first one is a pair of testicles or testes. Okay, pair of testes enclosed by the scrotum. Okay, and inside your testes, so kung bibiakin natin siya, so makakakita kayo dyan ng parang isaw ang itsura, which is what you call your seminiferous tubules. Okay, seminiferous tubules. So yan ang production site ng ating spermatozoa. Okay, production site ng spermatozoa and dyan manggagaling ang spermatozoa na ini-expel natin kasama ng seminal fluid or semen. Okay? So kung dito ang production site sa seminiferous tubules inside your testicles, yung maliit na structure dyan na nakapatong, which is what you call your epididymis. So nandyan naman yung storage site ng inyong sperm. So dito siya pinoproduce, dito siya ini-store. And then, dadaan yan siya dito sa tubings na to na tinatawag nating vas deferens or ductus deferens. So, vas deferens guys, ito yung tubings na pinuputol kapag ang lalaki ay mag-undergo ng tinatawag nating vasectomy. Okay? Vasectomy. So, pagka-dating dito ng spermatozoa ninyo, dadaan siya dito sa vas deferens. This is in the case of what? Ejaculation, obviously. Di naman lalabas yan kundi mag-ejaculate ang lalaki. Now, pupunta yan dito sa kasunod na part which is what you call your seminal vesicle. So, seminal vesicle contributes in your seminal fluid which accounts for 60 to 70% ng fluid na kasama sa semen, and this fluid serves as a transport medium for your sperm. So the seminal fluid in your seminal vesicle na sumasama doon sa semen na nilalabas ng lalaki, that fluid there na napoproduce contains high concentration of fructose. Yung fructose na yan ay ginagamit ng sperm for energy and para sila ay makagalaw or maging motile sila. And then another substance na mataas ang concentration sa seminal fluid ninyo na pinoproduce ng seminal vesicle is your flavin. That flavin there is responsible for the gray appearance of your sperm. And then after dito sa seminal vesicle, pupunta tayo pababa dito sa prostate gland. So sa prostate gland, okay, ito yung tumutulong sa lalaki na during ejaculation, siya yung nagpa-pump ng semen palabas sa urethra. Siya yung nagpo-propel ng sperm through the urethra during contractions, okay? Via contractions during ejaculation rather. And kung ang seminal vesicle natin nagko-contribute ng almost 60 to 70% ng seminal fluid natin, eting si prostate gland naman, it contributes for around 20 to 30% ng acidic fluid na kasama sa semen, which is a milky acidic fluid that contains acid phosphatase, your citric acid, zinc, and your proteolytic enzyme. Now, the fluid that is being contributed by your prostate gland is responsible for both the coagulation and liquefaction of semen following ejaculation. So, the moment na lumabas ang semen or ma-expel siya sa urethra ng lalaki, guys, hindi agad magiging watery ang consistency niyan. So, magsa-start muna yan siya as clotted or coagulated, or in layman's term, namumuo-muo yan sila. And then after some time, magliliquefy ang semen. Okay? Magliliquefy ang semen. And that is the responsibility of proteolytic enzyme. Okay? And then, next, pagbaba mo ng prostate gland, meron kang makikitang dalawang maliit na structure dyan, which is known as your bulbourethral gland. So, this bulbourethral gland contributes about 5% of the fluid volume ng semen in a form of thick alkaline mucus. So, the thick alkaline mucus na kinocontribute ng bulbourethral gland will help to neutralize the vaginal acidity that is present in the vagina of a female. So, that vaginal acidity or yung acidic environment ng vagina, that is due to the normal flora na present, which is known as your lactobacillus. Okay? So, lactobacillus. So, ito yung normal flora or bacteria na present sa vagina ng babae, which gives the acidic environment of your vagina. Now, kailangan kasi yan siya ma-neutralize ng fluid na pinoproduce ng bulbourethral gland ng lalaki para hindi agad mamatay ang sperm. Okay? Kasi acidic nga ang environment eh. So, kapag na-expose yung sperm doon, mamamatay sila. Okay? And then, next, we'll proceed now to the specimen collection and handling. But before that, konting recap muna tayo dito. So, first thing, for the production of your sperm, magsa-start siya saan? Magsa-start siya sa seminiferous tubules. Okay, seminiferous tubules from your testicles. Masustore siya or dito ang kanyang storage or tambayan niya sa epididymis. And then, dito siya dadaan sa vas deferens papunta sa seminal vesicle. Sa seminal vesicle, yan yung magko-contribute ng around 60 to 70% ng seminal fluid. And that fluid there contains high concentration of your fructose and your flavin. Fructose that is being utilized by your sperm for energy and motility. Flavin that gives the gray appearance of your sperm. And then, pupunta dito, dadaan sa prostate gland. Si prostate gland yung nagpo-propel or tumutulong na maipalabas yung sperm papunta sa urethra. And si prostate gland natin, nagbibigay ng or nagko-contribute ng around 20 to 30% ng acidic fluid. So, this acidic fluid na kinocontribute ng prostate gland is responsible for both the coagulation, okay, coagulation, and liquefaction of your semen following ejaculation. And then after kay prostate gland, kay dadaan naman yan kay bulbourethral gland, which accounts for 5% of your seminal fluid in a form of thick alkaline mucus. So this thick alkaline mucus, guys, ito yung nag-neutralize ng acidic environment ng vagina para hindi agad mamatay ang sperm. Okay? So, ganun lang siya kadali, guys. 'Di ba? As easy as that. Okay, so sana hindi nyo makalimutan yan. So next, we have here the specimen collection and handling. So prior to semen analysis or prior to seminal fluid testing or analysis, so kailangan mag-undergo muna ng sexual abstinence ang lalaki. So when I say sexual abstinence here, so there is no sexual activity na involved or masturbation na involved for at least 2 days but not more than 7 days. Okay? So, hindi bababa sa 2 araw, pero hindi rin tataas sa 7 araw yung sexual abstinence. Okay? In a form of, kailangan wala talagang sexual activity or walang masturbation na mangyayari. Kasi, prolonged abstinence or more than 7 days na abstinence, na wala kang masturbation, wala kang sexual activity na gagawin, what will happen is that tataas ang volume ng semen mo and at the same time, magde-decrease ang motility ng sperm mo. Okay? So kapag naman less than 2 days ang sexual abstinence mo, so possible kasi na bumaba. Okay? Possible na bumaba yung volume ng semen. Okay? Possible na bumaba ang volume ng semen. Okay? So in fertility testing, okay, infertility testing, following the WHO guidelines, so 2 or 3 samples must be collected, okay, not less than 7 days, but not more than 3 weeks apart. Okay? So halimbawa, magpapa-fertility testing ka. So titingnan kung merong abnormality sa semen mo, especially sa spermatozoa mo and other, okay, substances na involved doon sa semen or seminal fluid mo. So magpapasa ka ng 2 samples or 3 samples. Kailangan yung agwat niyan, okay, yung agwat niyan ay hindi bababa sa 7 araw at hindi tataas sa 3 linggo. Okay? Yung agwat ng collection, okay, is hindi bababa ng 7 days or hindi tataas ng mahigit, okay, or ng mahigit 3 weeks. Okay? And kung 2 out of 2 sample mo ay abnormal, okay, or kung nagpasa ka man ng 3 samples and 2 out of 3 samples mo ay abnormal, so that is a significant consideration na for, okay, an abnormal na sample, which means na possible na meron kang fertility problem. Okay? Fertility problem. So madami tayong parameter na kailangang i-check pagdating dito sa semen analysis. So may 8 parameters tayong kailangang i-consider before we can say na abnormal ang seminal fluid analysis ng isang lalaki. Okay? So next, if possible, okay, if possible, and this is recommended, the specimen should be collected at the room provided by the laboratory. So kung saan ka magpapatest, doon ka dapat magko-collect ng sample para at least ma-timing ng maayos yung time of collection, gaano katagal siya bago nag-liquefy, and matest agad ang motility ng sperm. Okay? Kasi if hindi mo siya magawa sa laboratory at sa bahay mo siya gagawin, so you should keep that sample at room temperature and deliver it to the laboratory within an hour of collection. Yun nga lang ang drawback dito, guys, is hindi mo matatimingan ng tama yung ibang parameters. Okay? Hindi mo makikita kung kailan siya nag-liquefy, kailan naging watery ang consistency niya. Okay? Gaano katagal bago nanghina yung sperm, 'di ba? Okay. So if the specimen is awaiting to be tested, so you can keep this also at 37 degrees Celsius, and it should be collected by masturbation. Okay? Masturbation guys ha, hindi withdrawal. Okay? Masturbation. So the container that should be used here is only a non-lubricant containing rubber or polyurethane condoms should be used. Or sometimes, dito sa Philippines, ang ginagamit natin is yung mismong urine container na provided na sterile siya and hindi siya na-expose sa kahit na anong, okay, kahit na anong contaminants. Because, guys, ordinary condoms. Yung ordinary condoms kasi natin na nabibili sa market, that contains lubricant. And yung lubricant kasi na yon, okay, that contains also spermicide. So, ano mangyayari sa sperm mo? Mamamatay sila. So, pagtingin mo niyan under the microscope, nakahimlay na yung sperm mo. Okay? And these are the reference values that is used for semen analysis. So, the volume is only 2 to 5 ml. So, wag kayong mag-expect ng semen na mapupuno ang urine container nyo. Because your urine container has a 50 to 60 ml na capacity. Ang normal na volume lang ng semen natin is 2 to 5 ml. So, konti lang yan siya. Ha? Okay? And then, the viscosity should pour into droplets. So, ipapipet mo yan siya once na nag-liquefy na, and then, iche-check mo kung kada patak niya nagpo-pour into droplets siya. Okay? So, isa-isahin naman natin ng explain later on. pH is 7.2 to 8.0, so that is alkaline. And the sperm concentration is greater than 20 million per ml. Sperm count is greater than 40 million per ejaculate. And the motility should be greater than 50% within an hour. So, kailangan within an hour, yung motility ng sperm mo or yung movement ng sperm mo is nasa grades 2.0 A, B, or C. Okay, 2.0 A, B, or C. So, meron tayong criteria for grading on that sa separate table. Now, for the sperm morphology, following the strict criteria, so greater than 14% should be in normal forms, while following the routine criteria, should be greater than 30% ang normal forms. And then the round cell, which is less than 1 million per ml na round cells. Okay? Ang round cells kasi natin ay dalawa ang pwedeng possible. So, isang round cell natin, pwedeng siya si WBC. And then the other one is your spermatid or the immature sperm. Okay, spermatids are your immature sperm. So, morphologically speaking, similar yung dalawang yan. Parehas ang itsura niyan. So, paano mo ngayon madedetermine kung sino si WBC, sino si spermatid? So, with the use of your leukocyte esterase reagent strip parameter. Okay, leukocyte esterase reagent strip parameter. So, obviously, leukocyte esterase. Ang magpa-positive dyan is si WBC. Negative si spermatids dyan. So, kapag nag-positive ang leukocyte esterase, reagent strip parameter mo, ibig sabihin, yung round cell na present doon sa sa semen mo is your WBC. And that indicates or that tells you something about infection. Pero kapag yan naman ay spermatids, naku po, ito ang mahirap because ang indication niyan is infertility, lalong-lalo na kung greater than 1 million round cells per ml ang present sa semen. Okay? And then next, the sperm motility grading. So routine grading, which is numerical, and then WHO na grading, which is okay, alphabetical. So 4.0 or letter A. So the sperm motility action is rapid and in straight line motility. So 3.0 or letter B, so slower speed with some lateral movement. 2.0 or letter B, so slow forward progression with noticeable lateral movement. So parehas talaga to guys, huwag kayong magtataka. Parehas na letter B talaga yan. And then 1.0 which is letter C or no forward progression. So, paikot-ikot lang siya dyan sa isang area. And then, letter D or 0, there is no movement at all. Or we have this alternative sperm motility grading criteria, which is progressive motility, non-progressive motility, or immotility. So, progressive motility, the sperm is moving linearly or in large circle. The sperm is moving with an absence of progression for non-progressive motility. And immotility means that there is no movement at all sa sperm. Okay, so let's proceed with the laboratory testing parameters. So again, as what I have mentioned, meron tayong 8 parameters na i-consider when you are going to test your seminal fluid or semen. So the first one is your appearance. Okay? Ano ang itsura ng normal na semen? Okay? So your normal semen is grade white in color. It appears translucent or may pagka-pearly white. Okay? Pearly white ang kanyang itsura. Okay, so ganyan. Hindi siya puting-puti, hindi rin siya may pagka-water na consistency or na may pagka-clear. So, gray-white color that appears translucent or pearly white kung iaano natin siya, i-picture out natin siya. And then has a characteristic of musty odor. So, the musty odor that we are talking about here is a bleach-like odor. Okay? Bleach-like odor or Zonrox. Okay, amoy Zonrox. Pero yung hindi color safe na Zonrox ha. Hindi color safe, hindi lemon scented na Zonrox. Yung normal na Zonrox. As in yung original na Zonrox. So, ganon. Ganon yung pagkaka-explain sa ibang article. And then, if it appears almost clear or mukha siyang egg white. Okay, ganon ka-clear yung kulay or itsura ng semen. So that tells something about a low sperm concentration. And increase in white turbidity naman, so mukha siyang cornstarch na tinunaw sa tubig. So that indicates presence of WBC and infection within the reproductive tract. Okay? And then next, so we have here the differentiation of your round cells, which is your WBC and your immature sperm or your spermatids with the use of your, again, as what I have mentioned, your leukocyte esterase reagent strip. Okay? So, positive kapag WBC yan, negative naman kapag spermatids yan. And then, presence of RBC will result in a red coloration of your semen and urine contamination, prolonged abstinence, and medication can cause a yellow coloration of your semen. Now, for urine contamination, so iingatan natin to guys kasi kapag contaminated ang urine ninyo with or kapag ang urine ninyo rather has a presence of semen, lalong-lalo na kung hindi naman siya nag-masturbate or hindi naman siya nag-undergo ng any sexual activity, so possible na magiging ano natin dyan, prognosis or diagnosis natin rather is the retrograde ejaculation. Okay, retrograde ejaculation. So sabi natin, ano ba tong retrograde ejaculation? So instead na ma-expel diretso sa urethra ang sperm mo, saan siya napupunta? Sa urinary bladder. And remember, ang urine natin ay toxic sa sperm. So, mamamatay ang sperm dyan. So, prolonged abstinence, so more than 7 days na no masturbation, no sexual activity. So, pwedeng maging manilaw-nilaw yung itsura ng semen. Okay, and then another parameter that we have here is your liquefaction. Okay, liquefaction, okay, coagulation and liquefaction of your semen, okay, that has something to do with your prostatic, okay, prostatic fluid. Kasi 'di ba ang prostatic fluid natin maraming content. Meron kayong acid phosphatase, citric acid, zinc, and proteolytic enzyme which are all responsible for the coagulation and liquefaction of your seminal fluid. Now, for the liquefaction, so the fresh semen specimen is clotted, as what I have mentioned. clotted or coagulated, or in layman's term, namumuo siya, and it should liquefy or magiging watery-like ang kanyang consistency within 30 to 60 minutes after collection. Normally. Okay? Normally. Now, if the semen fails to liquefy within 60 minutes, so this is probably due to deficiency in the prostatic enzyme. So, walang prostatic enzyme na kayang mag-liquefy ng semen, and it should be reported. Now, if more than 2 hours na ang semen or seminal fluid is hindi pa rin siya nagliliquefy, buo-buo pa rin siya, mahigit 2 oras mo nang inaantay, so kailangan mo na dito mag-induce ng tinatawag nating liquefaction agent, which is in a form of your physiologic Dolbeco phosphate buffered saline or proteolytic enzymes such as your alpha-chymotrypsin or bromelain. Okay? So, mag-i-induce ka na yan. So, ang gagawin mo lang dyan, if for example, ang semen mo is 2 ml. Okay? So, kung mag-i-induce ka ng liquefaction with the use of your Dolbeco's phosphate buffered saline or proteolytic enzyme, so mag-a-add ka lang dyan ng another 2 ml niyan para mag-liquefy ang sample. Kasi kakailanganin mo ng liquefied na seminal fluid para proceed ka sa other parameters na itetest mo sa kanya. Kasi hindi mo yan matitest with the other parameter kung hindi pa siya liquefied. This is a liquefied na semen sample. Ito yung hindi. Okay? Ito yung hindi pa nag-liquefy. Okay? And then the next one is the volume. Okay? Volume of semen or the normal semen volume is only 2 to 5 ml. Konti lang yan siya. Okay? So pag sa urine container mo yan siya ilalagay, hindi pa yan doon aabot sa first na guhit kasi by multiples of 10 ata ang urine container, so hanggang 60 ml. So an increase in the volume of your semen is due to a prolonged abstinence. And kapag decrease naman ang volume niya, this is frequently associated with infertility. That's why pinag-a-abstain kayo ng at least 2 days. Kasi kapag inaaraw-araw mo yan, okay, and magte-test tayo the following next week, okay, mangyayari dyan, konti lang or mababa ang magiging volume ng semen. So, incomplete specimen collection must be considered. That is because, for example, hindi ka gumamit ng condom, which is yung non-lubricant na condom. And gumamit tayo ng urine container for collection. Okay? So, anything na matapon, tumalsik, at hindi ma-shoot, i-consider natin yan siya. Okay? Para at least matansya natin yung tamang volume ng semen. Okay, so may isang rason pa yan siya kung bakit nagkakaroon tayo ng incomplete specimen collection. So sa face-to-face ko na sasabihin, ayoko sabihin dito. Okay, so next is we have the viscosity. Okay, viscosity. So this refers to the consistency of your fluid that is related to your specimen liquefaction. So viscosity, yung kanyang itsura, yung kanyang texture. So, incomplete liquefied specimen is actually clump and highly viscous. So, normally, when we are going to report the viscosity, so, i-aspirate mo yan with your dropper and then pipigain mo yan, patutuluin mo yan siya pabalik dito sa container. And ang normal niyan, dapat continuous na nagfo-form ng small droplets ang seminal fluid. Now, kapag ang droplets is more than 2 centimeter ang haba niyan, okay, so that is a highly viscous na specimen and that is abnormal. Okay, so kailangan it pours into droplets continuously. And kapag naman nag-form na siya ng stringy or clumpy na siya, so that is a highly viscous specimen that is abnormal. Kaya nga 'di ba, kailangan mo muna ma-liquefy bago mo isunod ang ibang parameter kasi ganito ang mangyayari kapag hindi siya liquefy. Okay. And then next you have there the pH. So the normal pH of your semen is 7.2 to 8.0 and that is alkaline. So an increase in pH greater than 8.0, so that already indicates infection within the reproductive tract, and a decrease in pH, so less than 7.2 or kapag naging acidic na yan siya, so meaning there is an increase in the prostatic fluid. Remember, si prostate gland natin ang nagbibigay or nagko-contribute ng milky acidic fluid. And kapag masyadong acidic ang semen, ibig sabihin, kay mataas ang kay prostatic fluid na present doon sa semen. And there might be ejaculatory duct obstruction, poorly developed seminal vesicles. And then next we have here the sperm concentration. Okay, sperm concentration. The normal sperm concentration is greater than, okay, 20 to 250 million sperm per milliliter. So borderline sperm concentration, which is still considered normal, yun nga lang, borderline na siya. So ilang kalabit na lang, magiging abnormal na ang result. So that is 10 to 20 million sperm per milliliter. And then for sperm count naman, so you have to multiply your sperm concentration, okay, sperm concentration with your specimen volume. So the normal sperm count is greater than 40 million per ejaculate. So how will you do your sperm cell counting? So with the use of your Neubauer, okay, Neubauer counting chamber. Or, ito yung tinatawag din natin guys na hemocytometer. So, ito yung ginagamit natin for manual WBC, RBC, and platelet count sa hematology. Okay? And then for the dilution, of course, we will use the WBC pipette. Okay? WBC pipette or Thoma pipette na tinatawag natin. So this WBC pipette has three markings: the 0.5, the 1.0, and the 11th mark here. So meron yan siyang bulb dito. So that is your WBC pipette. So yung pang-dilute natin is cold water. So to make a 1:20 na dilution, so you have to aspirate here your semen at 0.5 mark, and then followed by your diluting fluid, which is your cold water up to 11th mark. So technically, yung unang inaspirate mo dito na semen is aangat yan siya dito sa taas and maghahalo sila ng diluting fluid mo, making a 1:20 dilution. So kailangan bago mo i-dispense yan dito sa hemocytometer mo, okay, bago mo i-dispense yan, mag-discard ka muna ng 2 to 3 drops para matanggal etong isang unit na to na pure diluting fluid lang. Kasi nga umangat na ang semen dito sa taas. So, ang natira na lang dito is diluting fluid or yung cold water mo. Okay. Now, ang itsura kasi ng hemocytometer ninyo is ganito. Okay, para lang yan siyang microscope slide pero makapal na microscope slide yan at meron niyang dalawang counting area. Okay, so dito meron yan siyang dent kung saan ka mag-dispense ng seminal fluid ng diluted sample mo dito, and then via capillary action hayaan mo lang yan na cover niya etong area na to. So bago ka maglagay dyan, lalagyan mo muna yan ng cover slip and then dispense the diluted sample para magkaroon tayo ng capillary action. So, kumalat siya dito. Okay? And then, pag nakita mo to under your LPO, so ganito ang view niyan guys. Ito ang makikita mo yung guhit na yan. So this one area. Okay. And that one square there is divided into 9 large square. Okay. 9 large square. At ang magiging counting area natin for our sperm is yung etong central large square. So that central large square, kapag yan ay view mo siya under your HPO, so etong makikita mo. Makakakita ka ng 25 small squares. Okay, the 25 small squares, dito ka magka-count ng sperm sa 4 corner square. Okay, 4 corner square and the central small square. Okay? So, yung maka-count mo dyan, meron yan siyang computation na susundin. So, ituturo ko sa inyo, following the 1:20 dilution and the area of counting, mag-shortcut muna ako. So, kung ilan ang makount mo dito per square na yan, i-add mo yan lahat. Halimbawa, nakapag-count ka ng 100 na sperm, then multiply mo yan siya sa 10,000. Okay? 10,000. So, sasabihin ko sa inyo bakit naging 10,000 yan. Okay? Pag nag-face-to-face na. Okay? And then, eto na ngayon yung magiging sperm na counted mo dito sa hemocytometer. So, this is 1 million, di ba? 1 million siya. So, sperm counted, imumultiply mo pa siya ng 1 million ulit. Okay? So, 1 million times 1 million. So, yan yung magiging total sperm mo per ml. Okay? So, ang ating normal na sperm concentration is, ilan siya kanina? Sperm concentration natin is 20 to 250 million sperm per ml. And then, yung resulting number dito, imumultiply mo yan sa volume ng semen, so makakakuha ka ng total sperm count, which is, okay, ang ating total sperm count is greater than 40 million per ejaculate. Okay. So, ganyan. And then, next we have here the sperm motility. Okay, sperm motility or the sperm should be capable of forward progressive motility. So, pag tinignan mo yan sila under the microscope, mukha yan sila mga kitikiti. Okay? Mukha sila mga kitikiti na mukha silang tadpole. And they should be assessed in a well-mixed liquefied specimen within an hour of collection. So, once na na-liquefy na, pwede mo na ma-check for motility. So, ganito talagang movement nila, guys. Okay, masyado silang, ewan ko, makulit. Okay, and then, pag i-grade mo ang motility, so eto, grading mo pa lang dito, guys. Gantong itsura. So, 4.0 na agad yan. Okay, 4.0 or letter A na agad yan. So, rapid, mabilis, with a straight line motility. So, kung saan-saan napupunta yan. Okay, and then, 3.0 to 1 or A, B, C, D. And then, meron din tayong alternative na sperm motility grading criteria. So, ang gagamitin natin is etong dalawa sa taas. Alright. So, next is we have here the morphology. Okay, so for the morphology ng sperm, so titingnan natin anong tamang itsura ng sperm. Kasi kahit ma-achieve mo yung total sperm count at total sperm concentration, kung lahat ng sperm mo doon ay hindi normal ang kanilang morphology, so nonsense. Hindi makakapag-penetrate ng ovum yan. So, they are incapable of penetrating the ovum. Technically, hindi ka rin makaka-conceive. Diba? So, for the morphology, so we have to consider several parts of the sperm. So, the first one is we have here the head. So, the head is oval shape, approximately 5 microns long and 3 microns wide. And then, ang head na yan, that is covered with your acrosomal cap. Ang acrosomal cap dapat, okay, this should encompass half of the head and 2/3 of the sperm nucleus ay kino-cover yan. Because this acrosomal cap is an enzyme containing na material which is critical for the penetration of your ovum. So, yung enzyme na present dito sa acrosomal cap para ma-penetrate niya Ang egg cell or ang ovum is your acrosin, okay? Your acrosin and your hyaluronidase. So, yan yung dalawang enzyme na nasa acrosomal cap which is needed or critical sila for ovum penetration. And then the next part is you have here the neck piece. Neck piece that connects your head and your mid piece. Etong mid piece kasi, this is the thickest part of the tail. That is approximately 7 microns long. So, etong mid piece na to, this is actually surrounded by your mitochondrial sheath. So that mitochondrial sheath there produces energy that is required by the tail for motility. So para makagalaw, makaatras abante, makaikot-ikot yung sperm. And take note of this, guys. This mid-piece. So nandito yung mitochondria. So pag tinanong ka, bakit ang mitochondrial DNA is maternally inherited? So, bakit daw ang mitochondrial DNA is maternally inherited? Unang-unang tanong to sa chemistry nung nag-masters ako. Okay? Unang tanong yan ng prop ko. Diyos ko, napaisip ako ng matindi talaga dito. Yun pala, napakasimple lang ng sagot. Why is it na yung mitochondrial DNA is maternally inherited? So, that has something to do with fertilization. Okay? So, during fertilization, di ba meron tayong egg cell. Okay? And then, ipepenetrate ng ating sperm cell etong egg cell. So, technically, ang papasok lang dyan is the head. So, from the neck piece up to the tail, okay, kasama mid-piece dyan. So, pag na-penetrate nga na yan, ito ay madedetach. Okay? Matatanggal siya. So, once na ma-detach yan siya, anong mangyayari? Okay? So, etong mitochondrial sheath na may mitochondria is matatanggal. So, yung matitira lang dito sa fertilized egg, okay, is the DNA na present sa egg cell. So, that's why the mitochondrial DNA is maternally inherited. Dahil during fertilization, yung head lang ng sperm ang nag-fertilize dito sa ovum. The neck piece up to your tail is na-detach. Okay, natanggal yan siya. So technically, yung mitochondria na present dito sa midpiece is wala rin, natanggal na rin siya. Kaya mtDNA is technically maternally inherited. And the last part of your sperm is your tail, which is approximately 45 microns long. Okay? So next, so there are common abnormalities of sperm and head tails. So kapag may abnormalities ka sa sperm heads at saka sa tail, obviously, hindi yan sila capable of penetrating your ovum. Kasi hindi sila makagalaw, hindi sila makapenetrate, abnormal ang kanilang structure. So we have here the normal sperm, which is na-define na natin ang normal morphology niya. We have here the double-headed sperm, the giant head sperm, amorphous head, the pinhead, the tapered head, constricted head, double tail, coiled tail, and then your spermatid. So kapag tiningnan natin siya under the microscope, so we have here, this is your double-headed sperm. Okay? Double-headed sperm. And then, this is your amorphous head na sperm. Okay? Amorphous head na sperm. And then next, you have here the double-tailed na sperm. Okay? Double-tailed na sperm. So, kapag tail ang affected, ang problema is movement. Kapag head ang affected, ang problema is penetration sa ovum. And then you have here the spermatid, okay, and then the bent neck or tail na sperm. Okay? So again, kapag head ang problema, may problem tayo sa ovum penetration. Kapag tail ang problema natin is yung movement or motility ng sperm. Alright? Then next we have here additional testing. So additional testing, so we have your sperm vitality. Okay? Sperm vitality. So decrease in sperm vitality with normal sperm concentration pero markedly decrease ang motility. Okay? So vitality, is it alive? Is it dead ang ating sperm? So if you are going to check if the sperm is still living or alive siya or dead na ang sperm cell, so we have to use here a special stain known as your eosin nigrosin stain. Okay? Eosin nigrosin stain. So you have to count here 100 sperm and then bibilangin mo kung ilan ang buhay, ilan ang patay. Basta 100 lang ang ika-count mo. Okay? Now, the living cells here, okay, ang living cells here will remain bluish white and the dead cells here will remain or will stain red against a purple background. So the normal vitality is 50% or more na living cells. Okay. So paano to ginagawa? So, okay, ano tayo ng semen, then isi-stain natin siya with your eosin nigrosin stain. And then, under your microscope, magka-count tayo ng 100 sperm. So, sa 100 sperm na yan, of course, isi-separate mo kung ilan ang na-count mo na dead at saka living cells. So, kapag living cell siya, yun yung mga sperm cell na kina-count mo na bluish-white ang color. Kapag dead cell siya, yun yung mga cells na kina-count mo na color red ang color. So, the normal vitality should be 50% or greater ang makakount mo na living cells compared sa dead cells. Now, for example, yung dead cell na na-count mo is 45. Okay? Yung living cell na na-count mo is 55. So, this is a total of 100 na sperm cell. So, this is greater than 50%. So, meaning, normal ang sperm vitality mo. Pero pag nagbaliktad yung dalawang yan, okay, ibig sabihin, magiging decrease ang sperm vitality mo. That is because mas marami ang number ng dead cells na na-count compared sa living cells. Okay, and the next we have here the seminal fluid fructose. Okay, seminal fluid fructose which is produced by your seminal vesicle. Diba? Seminal vesicle. So normal seminal fluid fructose level is equal or greater than 13 micromoles per ejaculate. And a low level of your fructose is an indication of abnormalities of your seminal vesicle kasi nga dito siya manggagaling. Bilateral congenital absence of the vas deferens, obstruction of the ejaculatory duct, and partial retrograde ejaculation, and also androgen deficiency. And for your seminal fluid fructose, it should be tested within 2 hours of collection. Or if you cannot do it immediately, then you have to freeze it to prevent fructolysis. So, fructolysis, degradation ng fructose. Okay? And then, test for anti-sperm antibodies. So, anti-sperm antibodies can be present in both men and women. So, this can be detected using your semen, your cervical mucosa, or your serum. So, this is one possible cause of infertility. So, we have two testing here that is involved. So, you have your sperm and then you have here the anti-sperm antibody. So kasi kapag meron kang anti-sperm antibody, so ia-attack niya ang sperm and masisira ang sperm, 'di ba? So we have here the mixed agglutination reaction test. So this will detect the presence of IgG antibodies because when we are talking about antibodies, so meron tayong 5 types ng antibodies or immunoglobulin. So that is your GAMDE. Okay? GAMDE. The IgA, IgM, IgD, and IgE. So, wag muna kayo mag-alala kung anong ibig sabihin ng mga yan. Intindihin nyo muna kung anong letra. Okay? Kasi baka, okay, ma-overload kayo pag nilecture ko to. 3 oras ding nile-lecture yan. Okay? So, gamde the IgG, AMD, and E. Okay, so for your mixed agglutination reaction test, so IgG antibodies ang dinidetect or IgG anti-sperm antibodies. Kapag naman gumamit tayo ng immunobead test, so ang dinidetect natin na klase ng antibody is your IgG-MA na antibodies. And then next we have here the microbial and chemical testing. Microbial and chemical testing. So the presence of greater than 1 million leukocytes per ml of your semen, that already indicates infection within your reproductive tract. So frequently na affected dyan is your prostate gland. Okay? And then the most frequent performed microbial testing is your routine aerobic and anaerobic cultures and test for Chlamydia trachomatis, Mycoplasma hominis, and your urea plasma, urea liticum. Okay? And then, for chemical testing naman, so we have here additional chemical testing. So, for the low levels of these chemicals, which indicates a disorder of your epididymis, so you have there neutral alpha glucosidase, the glycerophosphocholine, and your L-carnitine. So the reference value for your neutral alpha glucosidase is greater than or equal to 20 milliunits per ejaculate. And then you have here, kapag naman decrease ang level nila, okay, that is an indication of lack of prostatic fluid. So we have the zinc, citric acid, acid phosphatase, and your glutamyl transpeptidase. Okay, so normal value of your zinc is greater than or equal to 2.4 micromoles per ejaculate. Citric acid naman is greater than or equal to 52 micromoles per ejaculate. And then acid phosphatase, which is greater than or equal to 200 units per ejaculate. And then you have your fructose, which is greater than or equal to 13 micromoles per ejaculate. Na kapag decrease ang level niyan or less than 13 micromoles per ejaculate ang level ng fructose, meaning that there is a lack of seminal fluid. Okay? And then additional notes, guys. So in case of alleged rape, so in case of rape victims, eto guys. So minsan sa babae natin tinetest kung may presence siya ng semen or sperm specifically sa kanya. Now, motile sperms. Okay, motile sperms or yung gumagalaw or buhay pa na sperm can be detected for up to 24 hours after intercourse. Okay? Non-motile sperms or yung hindi na gumagalaw or patay na na sperm can persist for up to 3 days. So remember that. Motile, buhay, can persist for 24 hours after intercourse. Kapag patay na, so andyan pa rin yan sa vagina ng babae for up to 3 days. Now, as the sperm die off, only the sperm head remains and may be present for 7 days after intercourse. Okay, so kung mamatay man yung sperm, okay, pwede pa siyang mag-exist sa vagina for up to 7 days. Yun nga lang, sperm head na lang ang makikita mo doon. And since the seminal fluid contains a high concentration of prostatic acid phosphatase, okay, so detecting this enzyme in cases of rape can aid in determining the presence of semen in the specimen. So for example, rape victim ang isang tao, so kukuhaan natin siya ng vaginal fluid, and if meron yan siyang sperm na nakita, okay, kung motile pa ang sperm, so recent lang ang intercourse na nangyari. Pero kung non-motile na ang sperm, so nasa 3 araw na ang nakaraan. Or kapag sperm head na lang ang nakita mo, so possible nasa isang linggo na ang nakalipas. Now, kung wala ka nang ma-detect na presence ng sperm cell, wala ka nang ma-detect na presence ng sperm cell, pwede mong gamiting pang-detect ang presence ng acid phosphatase or prostatic acid phosphatase. Okay? So, pwede yun siya. Pero may mas specific pa kay prostatic acid phosphatase. Okay? For the detection of the presence of seminal fluid even in the absence of sperm is the use of your seminal glycoprotein P30 or your prostatic specific antigen or PSA. So, pwede mo siyang gamitin na method of detection para ma-detect na yes, indeed, nagalaw yung taong yan. Okay? Na-rape yung taong yan. So, ito yung mga possible na indication mo kung ilang araw na nangyari ang incident, gaano na katagal nangyari ang incident. So, even with the absence of sperm, kung wala ka mamakitang sperm cell dyan, pwede kang gumamit ng enzyme detection, which is the presence of your prostatic acid phosphatase. Okay? And mas uh, specific pa ang detection kung wala na talagang sperm, patay na ang sperm, pero you can still detect this PSA or prostatic specific antigen. So, mas specific siya. Okay? And then next, you have here the post-vasectomy semen analysis. So, post-vasectomy kasi guys, ang goal natin is wala na siyang mai-expel na spermatozoa, okay, together with the semen. Kaya nga, di ba, pinutol ang vas deferens, okay? Kasi dito sa testis, sa seminiferous tubules na po-produce ang spermatozoa, dito sa epididymis sila naka-store or tinatago. So, during ejaculation, paglalabas yan, dadaan yan dito sa vas deferens, di ba? Papunta sa seminal vesicle, and then prostate gland, and then bulbourethral gland, and expel, papunta sa urethra. Okay? Ngayon, kapag pinutol mo tong vas deferens na to, saan sila dadaan? 'Di ba? Wala na silang dadaan, lang naman tumalon 'yan. Okay? So dito, wala na silang dadaanan. So technically, ang mangyayari na lang sa kanila diyan, guys, is mamamatay na lang sila dito sa storage site nila. Continuous ang production pero they cannot be expelled na during ejaculation. So ang goal ng post-vasectomy natin is to detect the presence or absence of spermatozoa. Okay? So the specimens are tested at monthly intervals, beginning at 2 months post-vasectomy and then continuing until the 2 consecutive monthly specimen until there is no spermatozoa na makita. Now, for example, ikaw ay nagpa-vasectomy ng January. Okay? So, kapag magpapa-post vasectomy semen analysis ka, so mag-aantay ka muna ng 2 months after mo ng procedure. So, January, February, March. Okay? So, March. Dito ka ngayon magsa-start ng another 2 consecutive months na, okay? 2 consecutive months na testing. So, dito sa March, itetest ka. And then, another 2 consecutive months. April, and then May. So, kailangan, pagdating dito sa May, ito na yung ikalawang month na nagpa-test ka for seminalysis after post-vasectomy, kailangan wala ng sperm na makikita dyan. So, kung nagpa-vasectomy ka at nabuntis ang partner mo, okay, so magpaganto ka after mo ng post-vasectomy. And kung wala ng sperm na nakita dyan, anong ibig sabihin nun? Nasalisihan ka, boy. Okay? So, ganun lang yon. So, next is we have the sperm function test. So, sperm function test, so we have here the hamster egg penetration, the cervical mucous penetration, the hypoosmotic swelling, and the in vitro acrosome reaction. So for the hamster egg penetration, so the sperm here is incubated with non-specific hamster egg, and then the penetration is observed microscopically. So eto siya. This is the hamster egg penetration. So, incubate mo sila magkasama ng sperm and then titingnan mo kung kaya niya i-penetrate yung hamster egg. And then the next one is we have here the cervical mucous penetration. So, mucous na gagamitin dyan is of course yung mucous ng partner mo. Obvious ba? Okay? So, i-observe dyan kung kaya ng sperm na i-penetrate ang mid-cycle cervical mucous ng partner niya. So, ilalagay yan siya dito sa microscope slide and then papatakan ng semen and then mix and then imamount and then titingnan kung nakaka-penetrate yung sperm doon sa cervical mucus. And then the third one is we have here the hypoosmotic swelling. wherein yung sperm mo is lalagyan ng low sodium concentration na solution, and these are evaluated for membrane integrity and sperm viability. So kapag naglagay ka ng sperm suspension, then lalagyan mo siya ng low sodium concentration na solution. So o-observe mo dito. So, kapag naging abnormal ang result niyan, naging abnormal ang result niyan, so yung tail uh, is characterized by, hindi siya nagsiswell. Pero, kapag yung tail is nagswell or umano siya, lumaki siya, lumobo siya, so ibig sabihin, normal ang sperm. Okay, and then next you have the in vitro acrosome reaction. So the evaluation of your acrosomal cap or the acrosome to produce enzyme that is essential for ovum penetration. So kapag tinest mo to siya with your inducer and then nag-react yung acrosome, so ibig sabihin may capability siya na penetrate ng ovum ng partner niya. Okay? So before we proceed with pregnancy test, guys, before we proceed with pregnancy test, can we have a 5-minute break? Ha, hinihingal na talaga ako. 5-minute break. Okay lang? 5-minute break muna tayo? Sige. Umihi muna kayo doon. Saglit lang. Talagang hingal na ako. Okay, magko-continue tayo afterwards. So, 11:10.